Um, the wonderful thing about these movements is that they help relieve stress and integrate the brain, body, and sensory system for everyone. Doesn't matter what age. So they are truly awesome that way, in that these innate movements, which were designed with to give us such an amazing foundation for our growth and development, they also support us through our whole life if we know how to tap into them. So I'm going to let Lauren take it over from here. Lauren, welcome and thanks for sharing your story. You can introduce yourself and let everyone know your story. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonia. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Lauren. Sorry, I just muted myself because I don't want to interrupt you. But yes, I can hear you really well.
Well, thank you. So what we have done this work with our whole family, and I've done it. My husband does it to me every night. It's been an interesting journey, but I think I'm going to focus mostly on my son Jaden, who's my oldest, who is 9. And he's the reason we found this work, and we've spent the most time doing it with him and have seen a massive transformation, which I'm excited to share about because I'm excited to have the opportunity to be able to help other families that are going through this. So I just wrote a little bit about our journey with my son, Jaden. Jaden, my firstborn, is a sweet, loving, creative, sensitive young man. He has a huge heart and has so much compassion and kindness in him. He loves people and animals and loves to laugh and be silly. We've had so many amazing moments with him, but it has been a hard 9 years. There have been moments where I was rocked to my core, not knowing how to go on, scared that my son was going to hurt himself, his younger siblings, or me, scared of what our life would be like over the years as he got bigger and stronger. Jaden had a rough birth, which led to an intense and challenging infancy. He never crawled, hated being on his tummy, rarely climbed, rarely slept, and was delayed in several areas. He was highly sensitive to almost everything, especially clothing and touch, and often had several hour-long tantrums in a day. As he got older, we began to notice an increase in symptoms. His body was weak, he had poor posture, he was tired all the time, he wet his bed, he tripped over things and ran into things. He was not aware of the space around him and did not like anyone, especially his siblings, anywhere near him. He had little nervous tics like licking his lips, touching his face, and picking his scabs. He would flip out all the time, and we could never predict what would lead to the next meltdown. We became prisoners to his meltdowns, isolated, scared, and alone. We tried changing his diet, took him to craniosacral, worked with a chiropractor and his school counselor. As he got older, around second grade, the tantrums became more violent, and he was always just so angry. We never knew when another explosion was going to happen. In the spring of second grade, Jaden flat out refused to go back to school. With meltdowns that lasted for hours, it seemed like our lives were spiraling out of control. We knew we couldn't continue living like this. It is so beyond painful to watch someone you love turn into an angry, violent version of themselves. All the dreams you've had for them start to fade away. It affected all of us so much, and we felt so helpless. There were a lot of dark, dark moments. Our family spent our days waiting for the next breakdown. Then, in May of last year, we met our angel. Sonia came to speak at my son's school, and thanks to his amazing counselor who suggested I attend her workshop, I found the key I'd been searching for so long, and everything in our lives changed forever. In the beginning of this work, I felt extremely overwhelmed. How could we possibly add one more thing to our already busy life? I knew it was what I had been searching for, but this work, it's a big commitment. These exercises need to be done daily, and depending on how my son is feeling, it can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. We began by doing only the rhythmic movements for all three of our children. These movements really seemed to calm my son's system and helped him with his sleeping, which had always been a struggle. My younger kids loved them too and asked for them every night. Jaden was still throwing angry, violent tantrums, but it seemed to take the edge off of it somewhat. He became more coordinated and more comfortable in his body. And once summer came and the pressure of school was gone, things started to slowly get better. Jaden spent a lot of his summer alone, drawing and building Legos. He started to explore moving his body, riding his bike, and jumping on the trampoline, and just sank into the slower pace of summer. We focused solely on the rhythmic movements and just let his system have some time to relax and breathe. Towards the end of the summer, we knew we had to start introducing the reflexes and started by adding them one at a time, beginning with the Moro reflex. The most challenging part of adding a new reflex is the beginning phase, this tumultuous period which lasts for our family from a few days to a few weeks, where everything seems to get way worse. For us, this was the hardest part, as we would be making progress and then all of a sudden there'd be a massive decline. I would immediately go into panic mode thinking, oh no, this isn't working, we're doing all of this and it's getting worse. And then right when I wanted to give up, it would thankfully get better. We started to see this pattern, and then these moments became much easier to handle as we knew it was only temporary. As time went on, we started to see massive shifts and would get these glimpses of how our lives could be, no longer controlled by these erratic, violent eruptions. In October of this year, Sonia came back to my son's school, and re-inspired by her work, we began a nightly routine that included all of the reflexes for both my son and for me. It has been a long, hard road, but every week gets better. We are no longer walking on eggshells in our own home. We no longer have an angry, violent son. He is back to being my sweet, loving boy. He wakes up excited for school, gets himself ready in the morning, has no more facial tics, and rarely throws tantrums. And when he does get upset, the breakdown is more contained and no longer last for hours. He is learning to handle his emotions. He is so much calmer. He is starting to see patterns. He has joy back in his life. He's starting to dance and enjoy moving his body. He loves to read and write stories. He has lots of friends and is extremely social. He is doing really well in school and is enjoying his life. His posture has improved and he's no longer lethargic all day. When things don't go his way, he no longer breaks down. His artwork and creativity has exploded, and he seems more content and positive and happy to be alive. He has started doing martial arts and is becoming stronger and more at home in his body. He has an overall feeling of freedom and ease that I have never seen before. Some days are amazing, and some days are still challenging, but nothing like before. We've had some fallbacks due to a broken arm, but have consistently been doing every reflex with him for almost 4 months. We know we still have a long road ahead of us, but it is so clear to us that this is the work we need to be doing. The biggest lesson I'd like to share from this journey is to never give up hope. When you have a child that becomes angry and violent, you start to feel a lot of shame, fear, and guilt. I questioned, why was my son broken? Was it something I did or something I didn't do? As his explosions escalated, I feared for my son and for my family. I feared that this was our life, and there was nothing we could do about it. I mourned the loss of the dreams I had for my son and for my family. But what I've learned is there was nothing wrong with my child. This behavior was not him. He was not trying to do this to get attention, not acting out because he was a bad kid. There was something off mechanically. His system was screaming out for help. Something at his core was not lined up, but it is fixable. And while this work has been a huge commitment to take on, it is so beyond worth it. We're so incredibly thankful. We're so incredibly thankful to you, Sonia, for the work you've done. Amazing teachers at my son's school have been so supportive, accommodating, and loving as we move through this. And I hope by my sharing my story, I can help others who are struggling and suffering to give you hope that there is a way out. Thank you, Sonia. I'm forever grateful.